So it's saying starting. Okay,
We're
so now
live.
it says that our
Yep.
live. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Zakee Bailey. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Amanda DeBose.
My name is Stacy Nash.
Okay, and we are together again today to work on bringing it together for our College for America project, trying to help Drip and Dry with their problems and trying to come up with a solution. So I kind of just want to give an overview of the plan today for us to talk, since I'll be facilitating. And so our main goal today is to come up with 3 different things. So we want to talk about one solution, try to agree together, the 3 of us, on one common solution, and then create a plan to implement that solution, and then agree on a way to evaluate the solution and its effectiveness. So do you guys have anything to say before we get started?
I'm ready.
I'm ready too.
All right, good. So let's talk about one solution. I'll start, and my idea with the solution that we come up with would have to be something that, kind of sticks to budget and that will help them the most, since we're only coming up with one solution. What's going to be the most effective, and what's something that can be evaluated and analyzed to see if it's effective. What do you think, Amanda?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think if we're gonna just start with something singular, and I think it's good that we're starting with just one, so that way we're not trying to, as they say, fix the world all at once. And it makes it very easy for us to focus on that one thing, and it makes it a lot easier for us just to measure that one thing, as opposed to starting 10 different things and failing at all of them. I'd rather put all our energy on one focus. So I completely agree. Absolutely.
Okay. What do you think, Stace?
I definitely agree with that idea. It's the premise of, we have an elephant and we can't consume it all at once. We need to just take chunks out of it. And I think we need to look at what the best chunk is of all the problems that we've discovered with Drip and Dry, and what are the most feasible and easier things to implement, and also within the budget that we've been given.
Right.
I really like the easy implementation. I'm sure they're looking for something that's going to take effect right away and that's going to help out right away, and they can see change right away. Because I think that's what they'll stick to, is if they see change right away. So what about some of their problems they have? So we can kind of decide, if we're going to decide on the solution, maybe we could talk about some of the problems first.
Okay.
To decide on a solution to kind of help us get there. What do you guys think about that approach?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I think so. And I think building off of what we did last time, listing out what some of the problems were and what some of the solutions are, maybe we kind of go off of that generality and then figure out what would be the easiest for us to tackle.
Yes. So I'll start and just give some of the things that I remember from our last conversation, and some of the problems that they had, and I'll mention some of the solutions, and then we'll take turns, and then I can jot down what we're saying as we kind of take turns.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so what I was thinking, from some of the things I remember from the last time that really stood out was some of the older customers being upset with some of the newer customers kind of staying around and hanging out and making it their office, and really taking advantage of the Wi-Fi and taking up the seating kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked Amanda's idea to, when they purchase something, give them kind of a card or some kind of like code where they can use the internet, and then use the Wi-Fi. And then I think we talked a little bit more about maybe maxing out that time, to a certain amount of time to help with that. And I thought that was one of the biggest problems that kind of stuck in my head after we worked on the project, was solving their, I think that goes along with the capacity issue. you know, as well. The fact that they always seem so packed in that capacity. So what do you think, Amanda?
I definitely agree, and I think that is one of, like, if we were to do a top 3 tier, I definitely think that is caveat for one of those spots, if not the top. And I also think the other big one was just how rambunctious everybody was, and everybody forgetting about their laundry, whether they're forgetting or purposefully postponing changing over their laundry and all that. And I really loved the idea, your idea and Stacy's name of the lobby lizard, and bringing in that extra person and hiring somebody to be a part of the team to kind of overview and oversee all that and maintain the rambunctiousness, maybe being able to remind people about their laundry, and even possibly, you know, go around and make note if people are being loud and all that kind of stuff. I understand that we had a bunch of different solutions that helped with all of that, but I think bringing in somebody would be a great start to initially attack a lot of those issues.
I agree. I agree with you. And I think that would also help with like the organization and the flow of operations.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So Stacy, what's something that you remember that stands out for you, problem-wise and solution-wise?
Well, one idea that Amanda had that I never would have thought of in a million years was when we talked about the issue with parking, was designating a couple spots for the Uber or Lyft drivers, which really doesn't cost any money for Drip and Dry. It's just something that we could try and see if it makes a difference, along with the idea of having the hospitality ambassador or lobby lizard, because I love that idea. But I was just thinking with that parking is that it's not going to cost us any money really, or minimal for some type of signage. And then that hospitality ambassador can help enforce it to make sure that those spots aren't taken for those that maybe need to, you know, utilize that type of service to be able to get to the laundromat or just to pick up lunch.
Right.
That's a good idea. That's a good point. I mean, I think that Stacy, that was a really, really good point. And it kind of ties in together. We've been talking only for a short time, but a lot of our conversation happened last meeting. And from us talking, I can see that one of the biggest solutions that we could come up with as a team, and I want to hear your opinion about this, but it could be to hire a lobby lizard or a hospitality ambassador, because I think that could help solve a lot of the different issues. And I'm going to let you guys speak, but I want to say I wrote down how you were talking about overseeing the rambunctiousness, Amanda, and, you know, people leaving their laundry. I mentioned managing operations and helping with those kind of like not taking up all the seating and the flow of operations. And then Stacy just mentioned the designated parking spots and, you know, people pulling up, maybe the Uber people pulling up to get lunch, that lobby lizard could run their lunch out to the person and help with the parking spots and kind of navigating traffic when it's slow times inside of the restaurant, that kind of thing.
Right.
What do you think about that, Stacy, as a potential, you know, kind of one of our consensus solutions?
Well, I think you're correct in the fact that that ambassador can help implement a lot of the other smaller ideas that we had that will alleviate some of the problems that are going on, or not even really problems, just challenges that Drip and Dry is going through. So ultimately, I think the main answer is that hiring this right person and then helping to make all of these smaller changes, like whether it's the number on the receipt or just limiting the Wi-Fi access, also reminding people when their laundry is ready. So I think that the ultimate answer is your ambassador, and then all these other things can come along with it once that person is in place.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I agree. What do you think, Amanda DeBose?
I agree 100%. And I mean, and even kind of as Stacy was speaking, it kind of formed in my mind, maybe this position is even more than just lobby lizard or hospitality. Maybe we're looking for a hospitality manager to start overseeing. And then that way, if we bring in somebody of a little bit of a higher standard, higher position, so to speak. And then we have all these other ideas that we would like to implement. So once, say, Joe Schmo comes in, he's our new hospitality ambassador manager. We give him the task of implementing the rest of the solutions that we want to put out. So that way, not only are we starting with the number one problem of getting a little bit more organization, getting all that kind of stuff, but we're also delegating and having somebody solely responsible for the rollout of everything else, and then making that their sole responsibility.
Yes, I like that.
And then our follow-up is what it is, and we can spend more energy on watching the evaluating the outcome of it, as opposed to worrying about what we're going to roll out next. We can simply be in that observer situation.
I agree with you. I like that. I think as well that it does call for more of like a manager or a lead.
Right.
I think we should think about the budget. I'm not sure what the budget was, but
you keep talking, I can find it for you.
Yeah, because if we stick to the budget, if it's maybe not a manager, someone who's super experienced, and they take like a $50,000 salary, as opposed to maybe like a team lead who is still being developed but is still good, you know, with hospitality, and they have had experience in hospitality industry type jobs. They may take like a $30,000 salary where we could use the other 10 or whatever that is.
Right.
You know, they could take like a 35,000 with potential for growth or something like that. You know, I don't know. What do you think, Stacy?
Well, I remember, if I recall, I think the budget was 38,000.
Was it 30?
So depending on, and I don't know if that would get us a manager level person, much less in Portland, but maybe, like you said, that team lead, and then give a little bit of leeway, you know, a couple $1,000s for some of the immediate changes that they want to see, or that they have ideas for that maybe we haven't thought of.
Good point, Stace. That's a good point. Maybe give them a budget. You know, the person we hire on, and give them a budget. I'm writing that down. I really like that.
Right.
38,000. Leave room. So 38 was our budget. We leave room with this person's salary to give the team lead a budget to help improve this issue.
I like that a lot.
So are we all in agreement on our main consensus solution to be hiring, you know, someone who can be a hospitality lead to help manage the problems that we mentioned?
I think so.
You think so?
Yes.
Stace? Okay. Okay,
so
so
it's a consensus.
Yes.
Yay! We have our first consensus of the meeting today. Okay, so can we move on to the plan to implement? You guys okay with moving on to that part?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so plan to implement. So if we're going to be looking for this person, I'm assuming from working in HR that our first efforts are going to be doing some type of posting, whether it's in a newspaper, on Indeed, on Craigslist, on ZipRecruiter, whatever type of recruitment effort we're going to use that, you know, the cheapest. I think we start with recruitment. What do you think, Amanda?
I agree. And I think since it's only one position, I don't think we need to go very broad. I don't think we need to put a lot of money into the recruitment because it is just one position. Maybe a post on one or two sites, and then on the local newspaper, because I think it's important to have somebody from the local community that's already affiliated and associated with, you know, the community that's coming in. So I think that would be an important aspect.
And before I go to Stacy, the other thing that I was going to say is creating a job description, because to create these posting and ads, we have to come up with the job description for this person.
Agreed.
What we're looking for. And I know we already mentioned a lot of, you know, like things, but we can, you know, we would have to come up with that before we post it. So Stace, what were you going to say?
No, I agree. And that's a good comment you made about the job description, because before we can post the job, we need to know what we're looking for. And also, with so many available sites to us that are either free or extremely economical, we're not going to incur a whole lot of money trying to find this person. And also, since this is near our college, we need to utilize any resources they have for any students or recent graduates that might have that level of experience that we're looking for. And also, it kind of sounds like the demographics that Drip and Dry has would be the type of person that we need to be able to manage that situation, because someone maybe of an older generation might not know how to deal with some of these situations going on with young entrepreneurs or college students utilizing this as their office or their study space.
I like that a lot. What if, even to save on a little bit of money until we fix some of these problems, what if not even so much as that managerial role where we need to give them a full salary? What if we look at doing more of a paid internship, and we go and reach that college? So that one that brings the salary down a little bit, whatever we decide for the payment for the paid internship, and that brings in that millennial mindset, give them that challenge. Maybe it is somebody that's still in school. And then once some of these issues are resolving, obviously our profits are going to go up, and we'll have a little bit more room that can maybe even eventually evolve into a managerial position for whoever it is that we bring in. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Because I like you're spot on, Stacey, I think, when it comes to looking at the demographic and the age group and all that kind of stuff of who we bring in. I think you made a great point with that.
Well, I mean, I like that. I think if we hire someone, my personal opinion is that we should hire like a permanent position, because they'll take ownership of it, and we're going to give them a budget. And I think they would really own it a lot more if they had a permanent position and they knew that they had room to grow. And one of the things I was before, sorry, Stace, I don't know if you were going to say something, but one of the things I was going to say, and next step is that one of the ways we can evaluate if the program is working is through the person's review. You know, when we're giving them reviews, we could look at their review, and if they're getting better, if their hospitality scores are what we're looking at grading them on is getting better, then we know that you know, a lot of those problems are being resolved. Stace?
I would agree. I think both are a great opportunity, and it's just going to be a matter of finding the right person. And if we cast a large enough net, you never know who you're going to find.
Yes.
And I don't think there's wrong with either approach. And also, if we need to change it midstream, we'll change it midstream. That's a luxury of being allowed to have this unique opportunity to be able to solve these problems that are all fixable. We don't want to go too far down a path with, you know, somebody or our solution and then realize that we've spent all of our money or we went down the path. But I think that both are a good opportunity. But Zakee, I agree in the fact you want somebody who takes ownership of the whole process and knows that there's more potential for more money and more growth based on what the revenues are going to be.
Yeah. I think from some of the things that we just said, step one would be starting with the job description and, you know, deciding on some of the qualities that we're looking for in the person. And then step two would be some flexible and affordable recruitment efforts using cheap or affordable websites. Like we also said using a local newspaper. That was a good point, Amanda, about trying to get someone from, you know, in that area. Also using college sources like going to the libraries at the college, and, you know, using some of the different places at the college campus to get the word out that we're hiring, we're looking for that person. I think that would be kind of like step one and step two. What do you think? What do you think, Amanda? You shaking your head? Yes.
I like it.
Okay, Stacey.
I agree.
All right, so we got step one, we got step two, we got the job description, and we got start with our recruitment efforts. So I mean, step 2.5, 3 would be, start the interview process, I'm sure.
Agree.
Now, do we want to go as far as talking about training them or just say, we want to train them? I don't know if we need to go in detail on how we're going to train them.
Yeah, because I think that's going to be an evolving door, and I think that how we need to train them is going to be forever evolving. So I think just getting them trained on the practices and the tasks that are already at hand, and then from there, that's what's so unique about their position is that they're going to be implementing new stuff. So we can't really train them, so to speak, on the things that haven't been implemented yet, because he or she will be the one implementing the new tasks that follow. So I don't think there's a point to go too in detail today about the training plan, because we're going to train them just like we did the rest of our employees, and then take it a step further after that. What are your thoughts? Would you agree with that?
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think they need to be trained just like a regular line staff person. And then because they really can't correct anything until they actually see what the job is.
Exactly.
And what their employees are going through. And maybe they look at other troubleshooting items like they don't have enough supplies, or the items are located in a different area and it's taking them too long to get there. So that's why orders are backing up, or they can kind of do their own observations, but they need to be able to also step in and be a barista, or go and, clean lint out of the dryer. They need to be able to do all of those functions of a line staff person before they can ever consider being a lead.
I agree. I like that point, Stace. So maybe as far as training, step 4 could be hire the right person and train them in all current positions, and then set expectations.
I like that.
Sounds good.
So that's 4. We're going to hire the right person, train them in all current positions, and set expectations.
Right. I like that.
And then step 5, what do you think? Do we need to set priorities? Like what solutions do we think the person should work on first?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100% with that.
You think, okay, what do you think we should do next, Stacy?
Well, I think maybe not priorities, but the goals that we want the candidate or the employee to achieve, and make them all achievable. And then also look for their input as well. But then I think we need to put the onus on the employee to come up with kind of an action plan of what all they are going to do and in what
Stacy,
time.
I just wrote action plan down right when it was coming out of your mouth. Oh my God, we're on the same wavelength. I'm sorry to cut you off. I got excited. Go ahead, Stace.
That's okay. That's why we make a good group.
Yes, I think we do make a good group.
Absolutely.
So set goals for the employee and create an action plan. Okay.
And I think it's I like what Stacy said specifically. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think she said having the new employee create the action plan, because I think it's good if he knows what his expectations are at that point, and he brings an action plan to us, we can see how he's going to approach it, and we can alter it if we need to. But I think it's good to see how has fresh eyes, like Stacy said, he or she can see, if this needs to be moved over here and if there's other things. So I think having him or her create the initial action plan and then altering it as needed is a great idea.
I like that. I think that makes sense. So we're thinking create goals for the employee, and then have the employee create an initial action plan. Is that what we're thinking, Stace?
Yep. Okay.
And then schedule a time to provide feedback on the employee's action plan? Or I mean, because Fred and Carrie probably want to know what he's going to be working on. you
Right.
know, and what his action plan entails, and if they're okay with it, and if they, I don't know if they're gonna, I'm pretty sure they're gonna want to give some kind of, what do you think, approval, or have some type of conversation about it, or
What if we plan for a monthly check-in? So last Tuesday, last Wednesday, last whatever of every month, we all get together, see
like a
what's
60-day
happened,
follow-up?
follow up on everything, see what have may or may not have changed. We can give um um Fred and Carrie the dates, and so they can come into them if they want to. If they're too busy, that's fine. And then we can have a complete business review for them, overview of the check-in. So that way they can constantly, whether they can make it to the meetings or not, they're constantly in on the loop on what's going on.
Yeah, I like that.
And that way it's continuous.
Mid-year. What do you think about that, Stacy?
I like that. And then also to make it quantifiable is in those meetings to see if any of the customer feedback has changed, or if any of the revenues have increased or decreased. So quantifiable things or tangible things that have changed with the implementation of the ambassador, plus what some of these goals are.
Yes. So I think kind of what you guys are saying is bringing us to the third step, which is to create criteria for evaluating the solution success. And I think our solution is pretty much to hire this person to be a hospitality lead to oversee, you know, things from operational challenges to, you know, things like there's no parking, you know, how to, you know, helping out Uber Eats and keeping the operations flowing and making sure they're delivering great hospitality. But I think coming to this third step, how do we make sure that this is working? How do we evaluate it? So I think I mentioned earlier, to kind of start the conversation on this, I mentioned earlier about, you know, having a review for the team lead, and kind of looking at the different things that we are, you know, observing, and the things that we're kind of grading this person on to see if they get a raise, or, you know. So I think a review would kind of be one of the ways we could evaluate it. And what do you think about that, Stacy, or what are your ideas?
Just like when people do an improvement plan, is that we have kind of that check-in time or date to know, and not that this person is failing, but that we go ahead and set up a particular time and date so we can put measurables against what the action plan was, and also get feedback from this team lead as to what's working for them and what's not, because they may have, you know, tried something and it failed miserably and no one knows about it until they report on it.
I agree. So it's kind of like a review / discussion, a one-on-one or one-on-two,
or 1-on-5.
where we not only discuss what we think about this person's performance, but we discuss the results, and we discuss what's working and what's not working.
Right.
Is that kind of summing it up?
Yeah, and I think if we get like anywhere from 3 to 5 of the major points, like Stacy was saying, something that's measurable that we can put numbers to, whether it's customer feedback, revenue, and customer count, and have those 3 measurables that we can identify and compare each month to the month as maybe a part of their review. And we can use that, 1, for their review, obviously, and 2, to see what he's doing and how it's affecting those important factors in the business.
Yeah, I think that everybody kind of said this about the measurables. I think that's a key point, because we have to set measurables even for the review, for that person, and for us to kind of evaluate if it's working. Right. So I think we're going to have to provide that for this project. So maybe we should take a few minutes and kind of talk about some of the measurables.
Right.
If you guys are okay with that, because I think we're going to have to provide that as a part of our solution.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
We're hiring this person, but also how is hiring this person going to help? What's problems is it gonna solve? I think two of the things that we could look at are P&L, profit and loss. Has profit gone up? Have we cut back on some of the loss? And the other thing is maybe do customer surveys, and take a look at customer survey results, because it seems that some of their, customers seem to be a priority for Fred and Carrie, so it's, they are in touch with how their customers are feeling. And that's a part of one of their problems, is some of the customers feel a certain way about the, capacity and people taking advantage of the Wi-Fi situation. So what do you think about starting with those two measurables, Amanda? The profit and loss and customer surveys.
Yeah, I think that kind of gives you a very good overview sum of how everything's going. That's a good snapshot. So I think those are two really good measurables.
What else do you think? Is there any other ones you want to add before I go to Stace?
I think maybe customer count. I mean, a lot of times you can see that in
transaction
and that, but yeah, I think if we look at transactions and especially because if the transactions are going up, then that means that we're recycling those people through a lot more, which is definitely one of the big issues that there have been. So
yes, that was a good one. I wrote transactions down. And Stacy?
Yeah, you can call me Stace. I don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we're all friends now. So
yeah. I was like, I didn't even ask her if I could call her Stace. Let me correct myself.
So I totally agree with what Amanda said. Those are three great measurables. They're quantifiable, and we can look at them for a short period of time or even for a long period of time. And also we can compare them to history, which is great.
Oh, that's a good point. We can compare them to history.
I like that a lot too. Yeah. Especially after we have quite a few months and even a year into the belt of all the changes, and we're comparing year 1 to year 2, that would be a very exciting, hopefully exciting comparison that we can be doing.
Well, it also ties back to some of the deliverables that we've done with helping them get to where they are now, is by providing all the great feedback on different marketing campaigns or ways to spread the news about Drip and Dry. And obviously it worked because they're doing really, really well.
Right.
So I think, it all kind of ties together an innovation with the P&L. How much money are you spending in certain areas, and what's the revenue associated with that, or what's your ROI on it?
Right.
Good.
I like it.
I wrote that down. So I like that. I was thinking so after we have our measurables, just kind of summing up what we're saying. After we have our measurables, we look at profit and loss, we'll look at customer surveys, we'll look at transactions plus or minus, and then we will compare, are we up over last year? We can compare our results to last year.
Right.
And then 3, I think, could be something, let me know what you think. Maybe prepare a mid-year, because we kind of said this, prepare a mid-year review and a final year review for Fred and Carrie, where we give them results. We look at all of those things and all of the controllables, and kind of show them where we are and what hiring this person has done for the company.
Right. What benefits it's done.
You think that's okay, Amanda?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
What do you think, Stacy?
Yeah, no, it substantiates the decision that we made, or the proposal that we made to bring on somebody. We have to justify our recommendation.
I agree. I like that. We created a business case.
There you go.
Yes. We're getting all fancy now.
Right.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, so I like that. So we have, okay, let me kind of just sum it up and start from the beginning. We did really good with this. I feel happy. Okay, so so first we start with creating a job description for someone, because we know we want to hire a team lead or a hospitality lead. Sorry, not a team lead. So creating a and let me know if y'all want to change the name. I was just going to say hospitality lead, but we could do hospitality lead lizard. I don't care, whatever you guys want. Hospitality ambassador lizard.
Or what is it? Customer service or customer experience?
Oh,
Something.
Snaps for Stacy. I like that. Customer lead, customer service. Yes.
I like customer experience lead.
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Because then it gives them a little bit more of a, because we're giving them a budget. All right, so
they can be the gel, the guest experience leader.
I thought about that too, but I don't want to be copyrighted by McDonald's.
I'm just saying, McDonald's didn't go far with it, so it's okay.
We don't want to get sued by McDonald's. So we know we want to hire a customer experience lead, someone who, and we're going to create a job description for this person with qualities that we're looking for in this candidate and responsibilities for this candidate. Mm-hmm. We're also going to decide based off of the salary, how much of a budget the hospitality lead will get to capitalize on their own initiatives or our initiatives, but their, solutions for those problems to kind of hit the other problems. So this person kind of is going to be one person that will work on all of the different problems pretty much by hiring this person. Did I leave something out?
Nope.
Linda or Stacy?
Got it.
Got it. Okay. So then our next step is going to be to start the recruitment process. We are going to do some local, flexible, and affordable recruitment efforts. We're going to stick to the local newspaper, free advertisement sites, or discounted sites. We're going to use our college resources as far as the library and the campus to help get the word out that we're looking for this person. Oh, did I get everything with that?
Yep.
Okay. So once we get that out, we're going to start the interview process. Mm-hmm. After we start the interview process, we're going to make sure that we focus on hiring the right person and training that person in all current positions and setting expectations. I'm watching your head nods. Yeah. And then the fifth thing we'll do is we will create goals for this employee and have the employee create an initial action plan. So they would have worked every position, so they would know how the company works, as far as those positions, those entry-level positions for the first month or so. And then they would be able to put together an action plan, because I think they would have to kind of get to know people a little bit and learn the positions and then do the action plan. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So then we're going to sit down, we're going to provide feedback and do some type of 30 or 60-day follow-up. I don't know which one do you want to go with, 30 or 60-day?
I think initially doing 30 days is beneficial because we plan on implementing a lot of things. And so I think to start off with, I think we need to have very close follow-up. So I think 30 days, and I think it should be every 30 days for like the first 6 months. And then however he does at his 6-month review, maybe we can stretch it out to every 2 months. So maybe we can extend that, or if we feel we need to, we can continue with the 30-day.
Yeah.
Stacey?
I think that's a good set of timeframes, and probably more of the tangible measurables will start to surface at that 60 and 90-day mark.
That's true. After he gets his feet, yeah.
But also we want to make sure that the person is feeling successful in their position and they like it, and just all the warm and fuzzy stuff we got to worry about in the beginning.
Yes. Okay, so then we're going to provide a mid-year review and final review. Oh, well, sorry, I crossed it out. So then our next step is going to be to have some kind of review discussion where we'll talk about the employee's productivity and their performance. We'll talk about results, and then we'll talk about what's working and what's not working. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then our next step after that is going to be to look at the measurables. So some of the ways, so this is leading into our final step of creating our criteria for evaluating.
Okay.
So this is what I'm talking about now. Sorry, I didn't say that part. But the review and discussion, where we're looking at that employee, the productivity, the results, and what's working and not working. is a part of one of the ways that we'll evaluate if this solution is working.
Yes, and then creating that report or presentation to Fred and Carrie about
Yes.
where we're at.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the last thing I put on here. The next thing I put is looking at the measurables on that report that we'll prepare a mid-year review and a final review for Fred and Carrie, where we will look at profit and loss, customer surveys, transactions plus or minus, and if we'll compare this year versus last year. And I just wrote, this will substantiate our proposal and justify our solution.
Sounds great.
Grace is giving me the thumbs up. Okay, so do you think there's anything else that we're leaving out for those three things that we kind of had to put together before we start talking about how we're going to create the PowerPoint? Stacey?
Back to our handy dandy instructions.
Yes. Let's all go back to our instructions real quick. Well, I'm scared to move my computer because now it's starting to jump.
Yeah, while y'all are looking that up, if you guys want, we can include in the overview in the PowerPoint. So I did a little bit of math. I did a search. So the minimum wage currently in Portland, Oregon is at $11.25. So I'm thinking if we bring him in at $12 an hour, if he works 40 hours a week, we just do an hourly base right now since he's only a lead. That gives him room to move up into management. That'll put him right under $25,000 a year at 40 hours a week.
40 hours a week, how much?
40 hours a week for 52 weeks. It's going to put him right under 25,000, 24,960. So if we just average that out to 25,000, plan to have that as his salary, that still gives us another $13,000. Right? Did I do that math right? Yeah. $13,000 wiggle room for maybe $1,000 towards planning for training and recruitment and training. And then we can give them that $5,000 budget and have $5,000 left over for a rainy day initially, and we can give them that $5,000 budget that we were talking about. Because I confirmed Stacey's $38,000 was correct, is what we have to work with. Our 2 months of our revenue is what we really have to work with. So,
what was the minimum wage?
Right now, currently the minimum wage is $11.25. That is supposed to go up. It's going up to $11.25 on July 1. So we can go ahead and be proactive about that. On July 1 of next year, it's going up to $12. But by that time, we'll have a little bit more wiggle room, assuming that all of these go as planned. We can give him a raise to keep him above that minimum wage.
I like that. Stacey, what do you think about that?
I like that. I'm actually doing some math here. Depending on the right person, we might need to up that pay, because if they're going to be more of a leader or whatnot, we might have to pay them more than a barista or just, a washing and drying machine technician. But that still gives us plenty of room to be able to give them a budget.
Right.
And then I think that if we substantiate that this person is doing great, they've implemented great solutions, and we have solid measurable numbers to show that this is working, then we're going to have more revenue, and then probably Fred and Carrie would be more willing to put more money towards this team lead or customer service or customer experience person when we show that what they're doing is working.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think we can play around with the pay a little bit.
And that's why, because I'm assuming that the rest of ours are at minimum wage, which would be the $11.25. And so if we start them out 75 cents higher just for starting and promising a review at that 6-month period, give him, if you meet this, and this, then you can have a 6-month raise. This is kind of like a to prove himself type of thing. And and like you said, at that time, Fred and they might be willing to put a little bit more to it, judging on how quickly the changes are performing.
Yeah, I do think we should pay him just a little bit more, maybe, so we get the right person.
Right.
And then, like you said, if the results are there, and if you're bringing in revenue, if they're making money, and if their profit and loss is better, and they have better transactions, because those are things that we're measuring, then Fred and Carrie might be more willing to give him a raise, like you said.
Exactly.
They might even throw in a little bit of health insurance and dental.
Let's not get into a conversation on the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah. And so even if we just do it and we go straight to 13, that's only just over 27,000. So like Stacey.
Oh, that gives us room.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, okay.
I mean, hopefully we won't be spending any money on recruitment is the plan anyways. Like you said, take advantage of our free resources. There's plenty out there. We are in the age of internet and Facebook, and we have our local paper. So
yeah.
The recruitment expenses will be very minimal.
Is there anything else you think we'll spend money on besides recruitment and
just the time,
salary?
If you want to account for the time and training, but that's not necessarily an out-of-pocket extra expense. That's going to be labor expense for the training and everything. But other than that, initially, no. Eventually, if we're going to be bringing in like the timers that we talked about and implementing some type of internet code, there might be a little bit of money involved with that if we decide to implement that down the road.
Which could come out of his budget or her budget.
Exactly. So we're giving him or her that budget to work with for that. So I think initially for him, I think if we just call it, I mean, it's say 30, we'll stay under 30,000 when it comes to him. So that's 27 for his salary, his or her salary. And then that other 3,000 for anything that might pop up. And if it doesn't pop up, then that's rainy day fund for anything that's necessary.
I like that. Stacey?
Yeah, just, I think it's going to be important to include the numbers since they gave us what our budget is. I think it'll be important just to include the numbers.
Okay. What do you think, Stace?
Well, I agree. And I always appreciate the fact that Amanda reminds us of the budget.
Money's always right here.
Yes. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll do that math on $12 an hour.
I think we're doing 13. Stacey fought for.
What was it, 13?
Yeah.
So $13 an hour was the total of how much was the
that'll bring him to 27,000.
Okay. Now.
27 now.
Okay. So, are we good to talk about the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody good with it? So. I think we have a good foundation. So we have to decide how we're going to put this PowerPoint together and who's going to work on what. And I think we have to combine it all and then submit it together.
Let's see.
As one final project.
Well, the PowerPoint's going in with, for the final on this project, yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Amanda will be the one to submit the team one since she's our coordinator.
Okay.
And then we have to put in our facilitation recording. So whatever the link is, and then do our facilitation reflection.
The only thing that threw me off a little bit, and maybe it goes with the reflection, is why our APA is, I mean, maybe this is a conversation for off recording, but why the APA is not as the teen presentation and why it's
separate.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it off the recording? Because my computer is starting to like jump, and so I just want to make sure we get everything on this recording.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you guys are like bouncing again like it was the other day.
Oh no.
And I don't want it to mess up our recording.
Time for a new computer. Okay, yeah, let's finish this up then for your recording.
So, so the last thing we just need to talk about the PowerPoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so PowerPoint, what do you all think about the PowerPoint? How should we break it down? Because there are 3 points and there's 3 of us. So we could separate it that way and then work on the references, the APA references together, put our own references there. What do you think, Stacey? I see Amanda shaking her head, but would you be fine with that if like one of us did the one common consensus solution slide or a couple slides? One of us did create the plan to implement the solutions, couple slides, and then one of us did create the criteria for the evaluation part of it, a couple slides. Because I could send you all the notes from the conversation and we could all do it that way if you want. What do you think, Stace?
Well, I feel comfortable doing your team solution presented in detail and how your team came to a consensus.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Let me write this down. So Stacy feels comfortable doing. Say it again, Stacy. The consent. How we came to the consensus.
Yeah, so I'm reading off of the directions that have to be included in the slide presentation.
Okay.
So what I'll take ownership for is creating slides for the team solution presented in detail and how your team came to a consensus.
Okay.
Okay. I'm reading over mine now.
And I mean, I can take those last two. I can take the rationale and feasibility of the solution and how the solution will be implemented. Bailey, if you want to do a few slides on the actual problem and its root causes.
Okay, so I can do problem and its root causes.
Because ultimately your suggestion is what we are going with.
Yeah.
That's true. So problems and the root causes. Stacy will do how our team came to the consensus, and what was the other one, Stacy?
The team solution presented in detail.
Solution in detail, and then Amanda, you were doing
the rationale and the feasibility of the solution and how it will be implemented and evaluated for success. And Zakee, since we see each other pretty often, we might work on that last one together if you don't mind, because I think you had a really good explanation of that.
Yeah, I'll help with that one too. So I'll start coming up with the how it will be evaluated, as well as the problem and root causes.
And then I'll get a couple for sure for the rationale and feasibility of the solution. I like it.
Stacy,
and Amanda, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask your opinion. Go ahead.
I was going to say, for the only citation I think you may need is whatever you looked up to find what the minimum wage is for Portland.
Okay.
So that might be one of the
true.
The rationale and feasibility based off of what minimum wage is. So that might be a citation so that we know what the current pay rate is in that particular city or location.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So do you all want to set a date to have this stuff done and to kind of talk about it again before we submit it, or?
Yeah, we can do that. What is today? Today's like Wednesday, right?
Yeah, tomorrow it's gonna be. I can try to submit it. I can work on it after work, but tomorrow I teach a class all day. I teach MOC class tomorrow, Amanda.
Okay.
So, definitely not on lunch or anything.
I can have mine done. Today's Wednesday. I should be able to have mine done by Friday. I'm on vacation all week next week, so I'm with my parents over the weekend. But when I get back from my parents, I am literally, my job is CFA while I'm on vacation from work, so I can get anything done anytime. But you guys give me a day, and I can make sure I have my parts of the slides done. Not a problem. Even when I'm with my parents, it won't take me but an hour. So.
Stacy, how long do you think?
Yeah, I'll get you my slide data no later than Friday.
Yeah, that's my plan.
So then that way you can lump it all together and make it pretty, because I don't know what background you want, designs of one, and you can jazz it up as much as you want or as little as you want. Definitely have that for me by Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll probably just do it on white background, so you can just copy and paste it into whatever PowerPoint background you want. So
I'm gonna go ahead and let's meet up. Let's do Friday. I'm gonna stop the recording because it's getting really bad, and I want to be able to turn it in.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the rest offline. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Bye.